Hello and welcome to this episode of the Tradie and General Contractors Business School podcast. My name is Barry Willie, your host for today's episode, joined by the amazing Miranda Hill. How are you doing today?
I am amazing. Amazing. Love being here, having these conversations with you.
Excellent. Well, look, today we want to share with you guys and help essentially trades and general contractors who really want to unchain themselves from their business to gain the freedom to live their dream lifestyle by building a business that can ultimately run without you profitably. And a few key things we're going to be speaking about on today's episode, which is around the first chapter in my book, The Path to Freedom, around creating a vision statement. We're going to go through a mini series over the next few episodes, taking you through chapter by chapter, breaking down what it is, what it's not, and how to best implement it. But today, we're going to be taking you guys through the critical mindset shifts that could save your business, your plan to get off the hamster wheel, what a vision is and isn't, 3 reasons why your vision is critical for your success, vision, mission, and values. What's the difference? Everyone has a different terminology and methodology. We're going to be discussing vision as an avoidance strategy and also the common traps to avoid when creating a vision statement. But let's kick off. Miranda, what are some of the major problems that we see in clients and how do we overcome them? And I guess, what are the traps that we find most of our clients fall into or people we've worked with when it comes to creating your vision?
Great question. There are 3 common traps that we see a lot. And let's talk about the first one, which is the money trap. The money trap when people are creating a vision for their businesses. When we think about it, what we want really is a feeling, and we want that feeling of maybe being able to pay for dinner with friends without having to, jump on and quickly check your bank account all the time, going, can I afford this? We want a feeling of being able to provide for our family, maybe to take them on a holiday or, take them out and do some sort of activity together. We want that feeling that contributing to others and to our community brings. So it's really about a feeling, but really money is just a vehicle to get us out of our desired state. And if we focus our vision when we're developing our vision for our business, if we focus it solely around money, we will never reach that goal because it's a feeling. So,
Yeah, I guess it's really important to note the difference between a vision and a goal is that you can absolutely set goals and targets around financial outcomes. Like I love money, right? I really do. However, I made the mistake in the beginning and see a lot of people make the mistake that when you focus your vision on money, you either A, achieve it and then find yourself lost and overwhelmed, not knowing to go where, not knowing where to go next, or you fail to achieve it because what we actually really desire, as you mentioned, Miranda, is not money. We want the experience, we want the feeling that money gives us. And this is something that I kind of, I guess, found as a bit of a hack, is that when we can really articulate what's the feeling we want to achieve, money, those materialistic things are a second order consequence of achieving that feeling in the first place.
Yeah, great distinction. The distinction between also, the vision and the goal, and the vision being why we do what we do in our business. It's our North Star. It's where we're heading. It's the reason we get out of bed in the morning. It's the reason you all as tradies get out of bed at, 4 or 5 or, dark o'clock and go off and do what you do. As yes, it may be, well, I need to pay the bills, yet there's a feeling that you get from having that money. And so the vision is around that. So, but as Barry said very rightly, this is not about goals, and we'll talk about goals in another episode around setting goals for that. So that's the first trap. What's the second trap, Barry?
Yeah, this very much ties into the first trap as well. And like, if you're a tradie contractor right now and you're struggling to pay your bills, like stick with us because often that objection comes up. It's like, oh yeah, but like I just need to pay my bills, and that oh yeah, I just need to mentality is what's actually stopping you from having a highly profitable business that can work without you. Essentially, doing the same thing over and over and wondering why you're not getting a different result, which ties into this second trap, which is the perfectionism trap. I guess some business owners and traders, contractors, they spend months agonizing over trying to nail their perfect vision. And what I'd say is this is don't spend too much time. One mantra that I created and shared amongst our community is to focus on progress rather than perfection. Like a vision half done is better than a vision that's perfect, because the reality is if we spend time getting our vision perfect, we've missed out on a lot of opportunity, and then we're reluctant to actually change it. But vision might, like many things in our business, shouldn't be stagnant. It should be forever evolving. Our vision, mission, and values are all something that we'll keep cultivating as our journey through growing our business evolves. And your next and the next and the next, so on, will continue to evolve. So we want to focus more on getting things done and taking a step forwards rather than getting them perfect. If we're just starting out, we don't really have to have a strong vision for what we want. That's okay. Like, we won't necessarily have it, and it might be around money to start with, because you're in that scarce mindset place, just trying to make ends meet. But realize that it will develop as we progress. So don't get upset with getting it right. There is no perfect. In fact, your vision will keep changing and evolving over time as you yourself continues to change and evolve. Just focus on getting enough clarity right now over the vision that you can see a short distance in the future that keeps you moving forward. However, schedule regular time to check in on this and keep expanding your vision as you and as your business continues to expand.
Yeah, well said. I'd say this is strike a balance between a rushed job and that'll do. I'll whip it up in half an hour. It can't be that hard. And invest some time in deep thinking. We'll talk you through and let you know how to go about doing this a little bit later. But invest enough time that you've put some thought into it, but don't, as Barry said, let it go 4 to 6 months as you're perfecting the word and agonizing over, which words are the right words. But when you do get it in place, hold it there for a period of time. You don't change it weekly. So it's finding that balance between don't rush it, invest a bit of time in it, but not too much. Know that you can change it, but you're not changing it daily or weekly. Hold it there and test it and date it for a while, but you don't have to marry it immediately.
Ideally, especially in the early days, like if you're an early stage business or this whole concept of vision is new to you, absolutely check in on it quarterly and look to start to refine it. But what we're talking about is don't throw the whole thing out and create a new one. What you're wanting to do is refine and build on what you've got quarter by quarter, year by year. And what you'll notice is that a few years in, it's less likely to be changed regularly. But in the beginning, it will be changing regularly because it will be a reflection of the growth that you yourself and your business is going through. And I guess that kind of brings us to the third one, Miranda. We've talked about the money trap. We've talked about the perfectionism trap. But the last one, I think, is also really important that we see amongst the trades and contracts we work with as well.
Absolutely. The last one is the show off trap. We often see it where it's like, I'm going to come up with this big grandiose vision. I'm going to feed 50 million people and change the world forever. The gap between where you are now and that is just so big. For a start, your brain will switch off. Your neurology will not connect with it. You will not want to move towards it because it is so far from where you are. But there's sometimes can be ego involved in all of this. Now, that is not
authentic, right?
Hey?
It's inauthentic, right? Like, you go and create a vision because that's what your friend does or some famous entrepreneur, or that's what you think you should do. But there's inauthenticity there.
Totally. You've got to feel connected to it. So when you write your vision and create your vision, do a check-in. Do you feel connected and excitement, a feeling of wanting it? You'll know what that feeling is for you. We'll all call it different words. You've got to feel connected to it in some way. The vision must start with you at your core. And if it's not an expression of your true desires, you're not going to align with it. You've got to know that feeling of feeling aligned. When you meet somebody and you just feel connected and aligned with them and you just talk and get on, that kind of alignment with it. Imagine you're getting on and talking with, your vision. You'll know that feeling when you have it. It's got to be the fuel of your inspiration. And if you don't feel that internal inspiration, then you're not going to get that buzz that's going to get you out of bed when when the going gets tough, when you come across obstacles that will cross your path. It's got to be enough to make you want to jump them, to work out a way through those obstacles.
Which I guess is important to note, Miranda, like, your vision doesn't need to change the world. It can be enough just to change your world.
Yeah. Yeah, so I love that one. Your vision doesn't need to change the world just enough to change your world. And your world is your world, not everybody else's world. So think about where you're at now. When your business is systemized more, it's working without you, and you're making more consistent profits, you've got a team in place, then you can start thinking about contributing on a wider scale. I almost say, to have a vision about contribution, you must have profitability first.
Yeah. Think of a vision that's relevant to where you at right now. And something that does stop a lot of people is they're constantly comparing their behind the scenes footage to somebody else's highlight reel. So scrap what you're seeing others in society doing and work out like what's a vision that's relevant to where you're at right now. And remember that all that has to change is your world right now. And as you said, Miranda, when your business is profitable and it's systemized and it's working more without you, then you can start to look at how you can expand that to contribute and make the world a better place.
Yeah. Now, two common places I often see people and our clients start with their visions is what I would put into what I call a vehicle vision, which is around what a business does. It's what your business does, and if that's where you're at now, and it's going to be about what your business does, then that's cool. Or sometimes they're often what I call a perspective vision, which is around changing the perspective of what your particular industry does or your profession does, maybe to right the wrongs of the view on the industry, those sorts of things. I see those as really they're great places to start as visions. The auto mechanics with a bad rap, or you often see people that just, there's shitty service out there and we do it better than everyone else. So find a really good way of weaving that into something and how you want to create change around the perspective people have before you start looking at the impact and contribution you're going to have on the world. That comes later.
Absolutely. And I guess you might be asking yourself right now, well, how do these things relate to my trades business? And I guess from my experience, many tradesmen are focused on fighting fires and only putting very little time and effort into playing the long-term game. And that's where you win. You don't win in the short sprints, you win in the long-term marathon. So our vision, mission, and values underline everything that we do and all the decisions that we make in the business. And what you'll notice over the next few episodes as we dive into this, or if you've read The Path to Freedom, everything is a stepping stone from the previous step before. Some people pick up the book and go, look, I just want to go straight to systems or goals or team, but you're missing a huge part of the process if you don't lay the tracks step by step. And what you will notice is going through these episodes, going through the book, putting these things in, is that you start to build massive momentum within your business as well as massive profits. And even more than that, emotional enjoyment through the process as well. So I guess, Miranda, like, what should listeners do to get started? Like, what are, I guess, the frameworks, etc., that we go about when we look at putting a vision in place?
Yeah, great. So as we said, we're going to go through a bit of the how. There are about 16 steps to doing this, and we're just going to take you through the first 3 or 4 now. But what we will do, if you click down below, we'll put a link to the SOP that you can download so that you can get all of the steps. We'll make sure you're totally connected with everything, or get a copy of The Path to Freedom. It's all outlaid in there. But first and foremost, what you want to do is get rid of the shoulds and the coulds and give yourself permission to dream. So just sit for a moment and find some space with a pen and paper, and I guess wipe your mind clean and go, right, I'm going to dream now. So that my current, however it is for me right now in business, I'll just put that to the side, acknowledge it and park it, and just just step into a space where there's no limitations. Except for, I guess the ones you're going to place on yourself. So put those limitations aside and put a magic wand in your hand and dare to dream, and write down whatever comes to mind. Don't censor it. Don't edit it. If you're choosing to type it, allow those red squiggles to rule the route, or delete the typos, everything. There's no right or wrongs, and anything is possible in this moment. The first step there's 4 questions we'll go through now. So this is when you're dreaming. So the first one I want you to write down is, what would you like? What would you like?
You talked there about the magic wand, Miranda. I'm gonna go off the beaten path for a second. I've been watching a TV series on Amazon Prime, my partner, called The Magicians. And it's all about these kids that grown up with these somewhat natural magical abilities, and they're all about to get accepted into Yale and college. And then next thing they know, they find themselves in this portal where they've been accepted into like this magic school that exists only for magicians and invite only. And long story short, one thing that I've been noticing, first and foremost, I'm like, how cool would it be if magic actually exists and the ability to cast spells and do some of the stuff they do? And they find themselves often in a lot of trouble as well, casting the wrong spells. But then the more I look at it, there's this underlying kind of tone. Like magic does exist, right? In the ability that we have, many people, myself included, have no idea the limitations we place on ourselves through our thoughts and our actions, right? Everyone starts the new year with these grandiose plans to have this to-do list and this bucket list, and then by the second or third week, it's gone. Yet I often sit back and look at my life in awe, just can't believe how I am where I am, and what sort of life I get to live for myself. And these are conversations we have with many of our clients too that have been with us for some time at Tradie Business School. And it's no magic potion or pill or spells that have gotten me or them to where we are right now. It's taking time out of your business to actually stop and sit and dream. Like, if I could create anything for my life right now that is a fit for me and for my vision, for my family, what would that be? And once you create that, just get to work, taking a step towards doing it. Yet I just see so many traders and contractors and entrepreneurs in general that are just stuck in the day-to-day grind, doing a whole bunch of stuff because they should do it. Where in reality, it's not moving them closer to where they want to be. So these steps we talk about here, as you said, there's 14 very, very simple steps that if you go through and you put the time into this, your life in the next 6, 12 months, 2 to 3 years, 6 years will be far beyond and far bigger than the fires that you're putting out currently. And, we said we'd share a couple of them here, but really the work starts with you getting off this episode, getting a copy of The Path to Freedom, maybe join the Tradie Business School program that we have so we can keep you accountable and go through the step by step. But essentially it starts with the very first question, like, what do you want? Like, if there's no limitations, like, what do you actually want? And I then follow that up with, well, what would having that do for you? It's all well and good to say that you want the $1 million or the Ferrari or the wife or the child, but like, what's the feeling like that having that stuff would give you? Like, what would having that do for you?
It's such a powerful question, that one. You think back to when we talked about the money trap, and that's where you start getting into exploring. If I have the money, what would that do for me? What would the experience be? What would that feel like? And sit in that. And this is where your future begins to change by doing this work now. It is not fluff. And it is proven time and time again, the most successful entrepreneurs, business people in the world, businesses, do this. They set their visions. So do that one. And then, it's worth diving into a few more layers of, and if you had that, so when you worked out what it is you'd like and what you want and what that would do for you, then you just ask that over. And if you had that, what would that do for you? And if I had that, what would that do for me? And if I had that, what would it do for me? And keep going. And notice when you kind of get stuck with that, and then sit there for a moment and ask it again. You will eventually run out, but embrace that moment of being stuck, because you're probably right on the edge of uncovering something pretty cool.
Absolutely. And I guess, like, rather than go through all of it, is like, the last question I want to share on this episode is, how would you know once you've got that? So if we zoom out for a second, it's like, we've got a target. We know where we're going. We understand why we're going to get there, right? And then we're going to understand, well, how do we know once we actually get there? Because if we're, again, extracting things from a materialistic goal to the feeling behind it, we need to understand when that's coming through. And the reason this is an important step, Miranda, and why we created this process, is there is a lot of psychology built into these first few processes: vision, mission, values. But I remember for me that earlier, I just would set these goals and I would achieve them or come to close to achieving them, and I'd create new ones and new ones and new ones. And it wasn't until a few years down the path, and I'm a very slow learner, I looked back and was like, shit, I've just spent the last few years chasing my tail. Like, I haven't actually stopped to enjoy it, and I haven't realized that where I'm at is where I once wanted to be. And the unfortunate thing is that in that pursuit, in that endless pursuit of more, I actually lost a lot of things in the process that had real meaning for me. And in the earlier days, that was a relationship with my partner. That was a relationship with my kids. And that's not the case now. But this is why we build these in as the first few steps to understand, well, what do we want? Why is it actually important to us? Yeah, we're chasing money, but what relationship does it have to bettering our life? Right? I remember the days of going and paying for things, and I'd have to go and quickly check my phone to make sure I had enough in my card to pay for it, so I didn't get that embarrassing decline status on the FPOS machine. And like, how would we know once we've actually achieved this stuff? Now, again, we go through the full 14 steps. It's super easy in the Path to Freedom. We'll also drop the SOP link somewhere around this video as well. So if you want to go through the full process, please absolutely do. It will change your business and change your life. But I guess I want to kind of end with a couple of things. One thing from me, Miranda, is like, if I was to give you the best advice on what to do and what not to do, I've already mentioned this episode, it'd be to focus on progress, not perfection, right? Focus on taking steps forwards and achieving things daily, not just putting out fires, but achieving things where you're actually making your business and your life better, and not focusing on trying to get things perfect before you reveal them and share them with the world.
Yeah, rightly said. A journey of 1,000 steps starts with that one step. To head towards a future that you desire, that you want, that you will be proud of, that you'll just, you'll step into, and you're like, wow, I cannot believe I'm here. I'm so grateful. You must step forward with some intention with those first steps. And this is it. This is the first step, to make an appointment. I think go and put it in your diary. And set yourself, half an hour, even if it's 15 minutes in several increments to start doing this work. Do it now, and do not let the year slip by.
Absolutely. And look, we run a free Facebook group called Trades and General Contractors Global. We have well over 1,000 members in there, where every single week we release free strategies, step-by-step cheat sheets, SOPs, a whole bunch of resources to help you grow a more profitable trades and contracting business that can work without you. There's no cost to join or enter. There's no cost for the stuff we give away for free, because we know that there'll always be a percentage or portion of people that are like, wow, if this is what these guys do for free, if I was to pay for membership, how fast would my business grow? How better would my life be? So if you haven't already joined our free Facebook group, Trades and General Contractors Global, click on the link below. Make sure you join there. Let us know how we can best help and support you. We'll keep releasing episodes here, and obviously strategies and stuff there, because ultimately for us, if you win, we win. We're doing a job. But look, thanks very much for tuning in, listening today. Miranda, thank you so much for journeying through this episode on vision, the first part of the Path to Freedom. I look forward to the next one where we discuss in-depth mission and what that is and isn't as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Barry. Love these conversations, especially love stuff about vision. So we will, catch you all soon on the next episode, hopefully. Thank you so much for choosing to listen to this today. We're really grateful that that was a choice that you made. Bye for now.